What's up, everyone? Welcome back to C&D Sports. Today we've got a Premier League update as the league heads into international break. Perfect time to get you caught up with everything that's happened in the first 7 games of this year's Premier League season. So, let's start off with the table here. We'll start off with the top half. No real surprises up top. Chelsea at the top with 16, Liverpool 15, City 14, United 14 as well, taking control of those Champions League spots. Obviously still early. The Europa League, really pretty much from 5 on is where the surprises start to take place here. In the 2 Europa League spots right now, Everton and Brighton both at 14 points. Obviously tied with City and United in points, but goal differential puts them a little lower. And then newly promoted Brentford holding that Europa Conference League spot that Tottenham got last season. So that's your top 7, your European teams: Tottenham, West Ham, and Aston Villa. They round out the top half of the table there. We'll run through the bottom half quick, and then I'll get into my 2 biggest surprises and my 2 biggest disappointments so far.
Sure.
So the bottom half of the table, Arsenal is rallying back after a tough 3 losses to start the season. All 10 of those points have come in their last 4 games, getting 10 out of a possible 12 to really kind of salvage their season so far, and to get them back up into the European conversation at 11th. Wolves 12th, Leicester, Palace, Watford, Leeds, and Southampton are 13 to 17 respectively there. And then the relegation teams, no real surprises here. Burnley, Newcastle, and Norwich with their lone point at the bottom of the table here. So, going to outline my biggest surprises here. Obviously, you have to look at 6th and 7th place, Brighton and Brentford. We'll start with Brighton, 6th place with 14 points there. I had them in the bottom half in the relegation conversation there. I didn't think they would get relegated. I think I predicted them. I can't remember off the top of my head in the preview, but I think it was around the 12 to 14 range or 15 range, somewhere in there. And the biggest thing was I didn't think their offense was great, and their offense isn't top tier, but it's the fact that their defense has only conceded 5 goals, near the top of the table in terms of goals conceded there. And Neil Maupay is a guy that I thought needed to kind of get his footing offensively. 4 goals in 7 games, not bad for their coveted striker that, underperformed the past few years. Obviously, big wins against Leicester City, big draw against Arsenal this past week have kind of added to their success this year. And they look like a team that it's almost inevitable that they probably will fall off a bit once they really start playing the big hitters in the top 4. But they've held their own so far, playing a good defensive-minded game. So I think Graham Potter and the boys they look poised to possibly finish top half like some people thought they would. Now we'll move to Brentford, who just below them at 7th. For a newly promoted team to be playing this well, 12 points in their first 7 games, I had them in the relegation conversation. I actually had them finishing 18th, I believe, which would see them go back down to the championship. I don't think that's going to happen. They've been very efficient on both ends. Big wins against Arsenal and West Ham, big draws against Liverpool and Villa. So they're coming together against these big teams, doing what they have to do. And they're doing it. I look at that Liverpool game. They scored 3 goals against Liverpool, who coming into that game had only conceded 1 goal, and that 1 goal was to the top of the table Chelsea team. So Liverpool, not an easy team to score against. They found a way to score 3 and salvage a 3-3 draw in that match. That's probably, I'd say that's the highlight of their season, but winning their opening game at home against Arsenal, first game in, I believe, over 70 years at the top flight, that had to be the highlight of the season so far. But obviously very impressive from Brentford, Ivan Toney, Ethan Pinnock, and company there. And now we'll move to my biggest disappointments here. A team that I had in the top, finishing in the top half and in the European conversation, not necessarily a European spot, was Leeds United. They're currently 16th with 6 points. Just got their first win this past week. to hopefully get them back on track. I do still believe in Marco Bielsa that he will right the ship here, but it's gonna be tough to try to claw themselves back up into the top half, which they impressively finished their last season. Their defense hasn't been as efficient, allowing the third most goals in the Premier League this year. They need more scoring from Patrick Bamford, who they just extended a few games into the season this year. A little disappointing from him, but I will say they have had a tougher schedule. Games against Liverpool, Man United, Everton, and West Ham. Never an easy schedule playing those 4 teams in your first 7 games. So I think once they start playing teams who are also in the bottom half of the table, I think they'll start to perform like they did this past week against Watford, picking up their first win. So it's been a disappointing start, but I do see better things to come, but obviously disappointing nonetheless. And then we'll move to the last team that I find has been disappointing this season. It's been Leicester. Now, obviously 13th, they're in the kind of the lower middle. Obviously still room to grow there, especially with Jamie Vardy. He's still scoring a lot, but he's really the only one scoring there. Obviously they need more support offensively behind Vardy that they're not getting right now. It's tough draws right now, sacrificing 4 out of a possible 6 points against Palace and Burnley. You never want to draw against teams that are either uncertain or, in Burnley's case, are near the bottom of the table right now with 3 points. This was a team I had in the Power 5, 6, 7, however you want to classify Arsenal and Tottenham, but I had them. They finished 5th last season, not far removed from their Premier League title, so to see them kind of slip down here, it's a bit concerning. Especially considering their schedule hasn't been as tough as, say, a Leeds United schedule right now. So for them to only have 8 points in the first 7 games, I think is a bit concerning. And I think there's not a whole lot of optimism right now like there is with Leeds. Can they do it? They obviously have the talent to do so. They're one of the bigger teams in English football right now. But it's going to be tough, especially considering it's not just the offense. They're conceding the 4th most goals in the Premier League as well. So it's both sides of the ball that have been inefficient this year. So we'll see. So obviously very early into the season, 7 games in, a lot of shifting will inevitably happen in the table. I've mentioned my surprises and disappointments. You can't take too much stock into 7 games of the season, but this is just what I've noticed now, and just to give you a little bit of an update of what's gone on so far. So with that, that'll do it for our Premier League update. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, give it a like down below. Subscribe so you don't miss any of our other uploads. Comment down below who you've been surprised with this season, who you've been disappointed with this season. Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.